Open the door, now! A loud bang echoed through the quiet street. Emily froze. Her hands trembled as she pulled her 6-year-old son closer. Another bang. Please, she whispered, barely breathing. Her son clutched her shirt. Mom, who is that? Before she could answer, a deep, calm voice cut through the chaos. Step away from the door. Silence. Then footsteps. Heavy, controlled, dangerous. Emily turned and saw him, the man everyone feared, standing right outside her house. They said he was dangerous, but that night, he was the only reason they survived. 3 weeks earlier, Emily Carter didn't have time to be afraid of anyone. Life had already done its worst. Jason, hurry up. We're late, she called, grabbing her son's lunch while balancing her phone between her shoulder and ear. Yes, I'll cover the night shift. I need the extra hours. Please, she pleaded softly. Her landlord's voice still echoed in her head from that morning. You're 2 weeks behind, Emily. I can't keep waiting. She hung up, forcing a smile as her son ran toward her. Mom, can we get pancakes after school today? She knelt, brushing his hair gently. Maybe this weekend, okay? Okay, he said, smiling anyway. That smile, it was the only thing holding her together. That same evening, the entire neighborhood went quiet. Black SUVs rolled in, one after another. People peeked through curtains. Who is that? I heard he bought the mansion on the hill. They say he's not just rich, he's dangerous. The gates opened slowly, and then he stepped out. Alexander Kane. Cold eyes, sharp suit, no emotion. Power radiated from him without a single word. One neighbor whispered, "That man destroys lives." The next afternoon, "Mom, the ball!" Jason shouted as it rolled across the street. Emily turned just in time to see it disappear through the gates of the mansion. No, she sighed. She hesitated. Everyone said to stay away, but Jason looked up at her. Please? She exhaled. Okay. But we will go together. They walked slowly toward the gate. Her heart pounded. She knocked. No answer. She pushed the gate slightly. It creaked open. Hello, she called. Nothing. Jason ran ahead. My ball! Jason, wait! Too late. He stopped. Someone was standing there, tall, still, watching. Alexander Kane. Emily froze. I'm so sorry, she said quickly. We didn't mean to intrude. My son's ball. Jason walked right up to him. Fearless. Mister, you look sad. Emily's heart dropped. Jason! But Alexander didn't react the way she expected. He didn't yell, didn't get angry. He just stared. Then slowly, he bent down, picked up the ball, and handed it to the boy. Thank you. Jason smiled. Alexander's eyes lingered on him for a second longer than necessary. Then he stood up. His gaze shifted to Emily. Cold again. You shouldn't be here. His voice was calm, but final. Emily nodded quickly. You're right. I'm sorry. It won't happen again. She grabbed Jason's hand and walked away, but she could feel it. His eyes. Still on them. That night, Alexander stood by his window, watching across the street. Emily struggled with grocery bags. Jason tried to help, almost dropping one. She laughed tiredly. Careful, buddy. That's dinner. The porch light flickered, then went out. She sighed. Again, Alexander's jaw tightened slightly. He turned away. But something had shifted. 2 days later, Emily stood outside her house, frustrated. Come on. Not today, she muttered, trying to start her car. It wouldn't budge. She hit the steering wheel. Nothing. A voice came from behind her. You're flooding the engine. She turned. Him, Alexander, standing a few feet away, watching. She blinked. Oh, I didn't realize. Try again, he said. She hesitated, then turned the key. The car started. Her eyes widened. It worked. He nodded slightly. Thank you, she said, surprised. He didn't respond, just turned to leave. Wait, she called. He paused. Why help me? You looked like you needed it. And just like that, he walked away, leaving her standing there, confused. Later that evening, knock, knock. Emily opened the door. Jason gasped. It's the sad man. Jason, she whispered. Alexander stood there, holding a small toolbox. You said your porch light flickers? She blinked. I didn't say that. You didn't have to. Silence. Then she stepped aside. Okay, thank you. He fixed it in minutes. Jason watched him closely. Do you have a family? Jason asked. Emily froze, but Alexander didn't get angry. No. Why not? A pause. Then, I lost them. Jason's expression softened. I'm sorry. Alexander didn't respond, but something in his eyes changed. As he stood to leave, Emily spoke softly. You don't have to be alone, you know. He looked at her. Really looked this time. For the first time, there was no coldness. Just something human. But then, it disappeared. You don't know anything about me. Then maybe you should let me, she replied. A long silence. Then he turned and walked away again. But this time, he didn't feel so distant. The next few days felt different. Emily noticed it first. Not in big ways, but in the small things. The porch light never flickered again. A broken fence, fixed overnight. Groceries that she didn't remember paying for showed up at her door. At first she thought it was a mistake, until she saw him, standing across the street, watching. Did you do this? She asked one evening, holding up a bag of groceries. Alexander glanced at it, then at her. You needed food. That's not the point, she said, her voice tightening. You can't just... Why not? He cut in calmly. She stepped closer. Because I didn't ask you to. A pause. His eyes darkened slightly. People don't always ask for help when they need it. Her chest tightened. That doesn't mean you get to decide for them. Silence. For a moment, it felt like she had crossed a line. But then, he exhaled. You're right. That surprised her. I won't do it again. She hesitated, then softened. Thank you. He nodded once. But neither of them moved. Something unspoken lingered between them. Days turned into a routine, unexpected, unplanned, but real. Jason ran up to him one afternoon. Mr. Kane, look. He held up a drawing. A small house, 3 stick figures. Emily froze when she saw it. Jason! But Alexander took the paper, studied it. Who's this? He asked quietly. That's me, Jason said proudly. And that's Mom. A pause. And that's you. Emily's heart skipped. I think you should be in our family, Jason added simply. Silence fell. Heavy. Emily quickly stepped in. Okay, that's enough. Come inside, Jason. But Alexander didn't move. His eyes stayed on the drawing. Then, very carefully, he folded it and slipped it into his pocket. I'll keep it, he said. Jason beamed. Later that night, Emily sat on her porch, tired, thinking. She heard footsteps. She didn't have to look up. You're starting to make this a habit, she said softly. Alexander stood beside her. Your lights are on late every night. She gave a tired smile. Bills don't pay themselves. A pause, then, why do you do it? He asked. She looked at him. Do what? Keep going. She laughed quietly. I don't have a choice. He studied her face. You always have a choice. Not when you have a child depending on you. That hit something in him. Hard. He looked away. Some choices cost too much. She watched him carefully. What happened to your family? Silence. Long, tense, then... I failed them. His voice was low, controlled but heavy. Emily didn't push, didn't ask more. She just said, we all fail sometimes. He shook his head slightly. No, not like this. And just like that, the walls went back up. The next morning, everything changed. Emily was at work when she heard it. 2 co-workers whispering, Did you see the news? About Alexander Kane? Her heart skipped. She moved closer. What about him? They looked at her. You live near him, right? A pause. Yeah. One of them pulled out her phone. Then you should see this. The screen showed headlines. Billionaire Alexander Kane linked to corporate scandal. Rivals claim dangerous business tactics. Whistleblower goes missing. Emily's stomach dropped. What is this? They say he destroys anyone who gets in his way, one coworker said. People like that don't change. Her mind raced. No, that's not... But doubt had already crept in. That evening, Emily stood outside his mansion. Heart pounding, she didn't knock. She walked in, determined. He was already there, waiting. Why didn't you tell me? She demanded. His expression didn't change. Tell you what? Who you really are. Silence. You knew, he said. I didn't know, Alexander. Her voice cracked. I heard things, but I didn't know this. She stepped closer. People are saying you ruin lives, that people disappear because of you. His jaw tightened. You shouldn't listen to rumors. Then tell me the truth, she shouted. The tension snapped. I built an empire, he said coldly. And yes, people got hurt along the way. Her breath caught. That's not the same as what they're saying. No, he replied. It's worse. Silence, heavy, painful. Tears filled her eyes. I trusted you. That was your first mistake. Her heart broke at that. Why would you say that? Because people like me don't deserve trust. Her voice dropped. And what about Jason? That hit hard. He looks up to you, she continued. He thinks you're a good man. Alexander looked away. For the first time, he couldn't hold her gaze. That's exactly why you should stay away from me. She stepped back, shaking. So everything was a lie? No. Then what was real? A long pause. Then, you. Her breath caught. And Jason, he added quietly. But the rest, she asked, is dangerous. That night, Emily locked every door, every window. Jason looked up at her. Mom, is Mr. Kane mad at us? Her heart shattered. No, baby, she whispered. He's just not who we thought he was. Jason frowned. I think he's still good. She forced a smile. After he left, she stood alone in the dark, thinking, processing, hurting, across the street. Alexander stood in silence, watching her house, but this time, he didn't move, didn't help, didn't come closer, because now, he knew, the closer she got to him, the more danger followed, and somewhere in the distance, a black SUV slowly pulled into the neighborhood, its headlights dimmed, watching, waiting. A loud crash shattered the silence. Emily shot up from the couch. Her heart slammed against her chest. Another crash. Glass breaking. Mom! Jason's voice trembled from the hallway. Stay in your room! She shouted, panic rising. Footsteps, not hers, inside the house. Her breathing became sharp, uneven. Who's there? She yelled, grabbing the nearest thing, a kitchen knife. A shadow moved across the wall. Then a voice, low, cold. You shouldn't have gotten involved with him. Her blood ran cold. Two men stepped into the light, dressed in black. Calm, dangerous. Where is he? One asked. I don't know what you're talking about, she said, trying to steady her voice. The second man smirked. You live next to Alexander Kane, and you expect us to believe that? Her grip tightened on the knife. I said I don't know. The first man stepped closer. Let's not make this harder than it needs to be. A small voice broke the moment. Mom? Jason stood at the end of the hallway, fear in his eyes. No, Emily shouted. Go back. Too late. One of the men turned. Well, looks like we have leverage. Emily's heart stopped. Don't you touch him, she screamed, stepping forward. The man moved toward Jason, slow, threatening. Jason froze, tears forming. Mom. Then, a voice from the door. Take one more step, and you won't walk out of here. Silence. The men turned. Alexander stood there, still, deadly calm. But his eyes, Pure fury. Right on time, one of the men said with a grin. Alexander stepped inside. You picked the wrong house. The man laughed. No, we picked the perfect one. Emily rushed to Jason, pulling him behind her. Alexander didn't look at them. His focus stayed on the men. This ends tonight, he said. Oh, it will, the first man replied. Starting with you. A flash of movement. The second man lunged. Everything exploded into chaos. Alexander moved fast, precise, controlled. He dodged the attack, grabbing the man's arm, slamming him into the wall. The other pulled out a weapon. Emily gasped. Alexander! Too late. A shot fired. The sound rang through the house. Jason screamed. Emily covered him. Stay down, she cried. Alexander didn't stop. He disarmed the second man, sending the weapon sliding across the floor. Another blow, another crash. Then silence. Both men were down, not moving. Emily's hands shook as she held Jason tightly. It's okay. It's okay, she whispered, though her voice broke. Alexander stood there, breathing heavily. But his eyes, they weren't on the men. They were on her and Jason. Are you hurt? He asked. Are you hurt? He asked. Emily shook her head, but tears streamed down her face. You said to stay away from you, she whispered. His voice dropped. I tried. She stood up slowly, still holding Jason's hand. You don't get to decide that alone, she said, her voice trembling but firm. His jaw tightened. My world is dangerous. I can see that, she snapped, gesturing around the room. But pushing us away didn't stop it, did it? Silence. Heavy. You think being alone protects people, she continued. It doesn't. It just makes you miserable. That hit deeper than anything else. He looked away. For the first time, he had no defense. Jason stepped forward, small but brave. Mr. Kane. Alexander looked down at him. I was scared, Jason said softly. A pause. But I knew you'd come. Alexander's expression broke, just slightly, but enough. Emily stepped closer. You don't have to do this alone anymore. His voice was low. You don't understand what that means. Then explain it to me, she said. But don't shut me out. A long silence followed. Then, I could lose everything, he admitted. Maybe that's not the worst thing. He looked at her, conflicted. You already almost lost us. That was it, the final crack. Days later, the neighborhood was quiet again. Police came and went. Questions were asked, but no one really knew the full story. Emily stood outside her house, watching, waiting. Jason ran up to her. Mom, look! A car pulled up. Not black SUVs, not security, just one car. Simple. Alexander stepped out. No suit, no cold expression, just him. He walked toward them. Slowly, carefully, as if unsure. Emily crossed her arms, trying to hide her emotions. You came back. I said I would fix this, he replied. And did you? A pause. I walked away from it. Her eyes widened slightly. My company, my position, all of it, he said. The people who caused this are gone, for good. Silence. You gave up everything? She asked. He looked at her. No. His voice softened. I chose what mattered. Jason ran forward and hugged him. You're back. Alexander hesitated for a second, then hugged him back, tightly. Emily watched, her heart finally letting go of the fear. You're not scary anymore, Jason said. Alexander let out a quiet breath. I never wanted to be. He looked up at Emily. I don't know how to do this, he admitted. She smiled softly. You'll learn. A pause, then she stepped closer and took his hand. A month later, the house felt different. Lighter, warmer. Laughter replaced silence. Fear replaced by something stronger. Jason's drawing hung on the wall. Now complete. 3 figures. A family. They said he was dangerous. That he destroyed lives. But in the end, the only thing he destroyed was the life that kept him alone. If this story touched your heart, Make sure you like this video, subscribe for more powerful stories like this, and comment below. What would you have done if you were Emily? Would you trust him or walk away? End of story.